Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, Hurricane Ernesto gaining strength overnight. Massive storm on the move. Ernesto sweeping north and taking aim at Bermuda, strengthening to a Category 2 overnight. Now the East Coast on alert. The life-threatening surf and rip current conditions this weekend. Ginger is here tracking it all.
Facing off, Vice President Harris set to lay out her economic vision today, what she's proposing on housing, down payments, and grocery prices after making her first appearance with President Biden since he dropped out of the race, while Donald Trump speaks at his golf club. Now, the new ABC News poll, how the vice presidential candidates stack up.
Breaking their silence, the family of the firefighter killed in the assassination attempt on former President Trump in an exclusive interview with ABC Pittsburgh affiliate WTAE, telling their story for the first time.
He was just the best guy. He was just the best.
Recalling the moment shots rang out, his heroic actions, and how they want him to be remembered.
Breaking news. The murderer who escaped from a hospital caught overnight. What we know right now.
Airport security breach. A man following a family onto their plane. He was not ticketed for that flight. The family speaks out this morning.
5 people charged in the overdose death of Matthew Perry. The Justice Department blaming a broad underground criminal network, including his live-in assistant and 2 doctors.
He wrote in a text message in September 2023, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
This morning, the new details on the investigation, what authorities are saying about the day Perry died, and what's next for the suspects. Dan Abrams is here live.
Game changer, the real estate switch going into effect, what it means for buyers and sellers, and could it make buying more affordable?
This morning we have a brand new poll coming in for the race for the White House. Rachel Scott is here to break that down for us.
But we begin with Hurricane Ernesto gaining strength overnight and taking aim at Bermuda.
The storm is also having an impact on the East Coast, bringing dangerous rip currents to the shores on one of the last summer weekends. Erielle Reshef is live at Rockaway Beach standing by, but first, let's go to Ginger with the track end timing. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to y'all. You know, the surf is up already from Turks and Caicos through Bahamas, and the rip current risk also. You see St. Augustine, Florida here. This is not something you're going to want to get in the next 24 hours to 48 hours, because those are just going to have rip currents that bring you right back out to sea. So from south of Jacksonville all the way up to Savannah, we've got some rip current alerts. Here's the storm. It's more than 300 miles south-southwest of Bermuda, and it is moving north-northeast at 13 miles per hour. We put the futurecast on, and it's tonight where you start to see the big impacts into early tomorrow morning. That is the bad side of the storm, the dirty side, the right front quadrant, where you get the biggest push of water, the coastal flooding, and then up to 15 inches of rain. Bermuda does very well with hurricanes, but this will be a testing one as it approaches as a Cat 2, and then jets out and gets taken out by a trough. So again, for us, it's going to be rough surf, especially on the East Coast, kind of later in the weekend, Saturday night through Monday.
Yeah, be careful out there at the beach.
Yeah. You got it.
All right, thank you, Ginger. And those rip current alerts come as so many people head to the beach this weekend. Erielle Reshef is at Rockaway Beach in New York with the latest on the conditions. Good morning, Erielle.
Hey, good morning to you, Michael. As you can see, the sea is pretty calm this morning, but don't let that deceive you. It is going to change pretty dramatically in the next 24 hours with Ernesto churning about 500 miles offshore. The National Weather Service issuing those alerts that Ginger mentioned for high surf and potentially dangerous rip currents as well. Waves in some places here in the Northeast could reach between 9 to 10 feet. We know that Florida will see the choppiest seas start up today. For us here in the Northeast, it'll be between Saturday through Monday that are the most dangerous. With Tuesday, the water is expected to calm down. But of course, before you get in, you should check with your local lifeguards and make sure to heed any warnings in your area. Rebecca?
Yep, pay attention and just keep that awareness up. Okay, Erielle, thank you. We turn now to the race for the White House. Vice President Harris is set to lay out her economic plan today after making her first appearance with President Biden since he dropped out of the race. Former President Trump held another press conference, and Rachel Scott is here with more. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Rebecca, good morning to you. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris has only been in the race now for a few weeks. She has not outlined any policy plans yet, but all of that will change today. She is set to unveil her economic agenda as she really tries to thread this needle between touting the Biden-Harris record and laying out her own vision for the country. This morning, Vice President Kamala Harris set to unveil her economic agenda in North Carolina today, after appearing with President Biden for the first time since he dropped out of the race.
Few leaders in our nation have done more on so many issues, including to expand access to affordable health care than Joe Biden.
The president touting the first ever negotiations with pharmaceutical companies to lower the cost of 10 drugs.
Kamala and all of us in this room are going to keep standing up for Big Pharma. I fought too damn hard to yield now. We're not backing down.
But with polls showing most Americans are still dissatisfied with the economy, the vice president will offer her own proposals later today. Her campaign says Harris will propose up to $25,000 in down payment support for first-time home buyers who have paid their rent on time for 2 years, expand the child tax credit providing up to $6,000 per child, and implement a first-ever federal ban on price gouging on food and groceries, an idea already drawing criticism from Donald Trump.
She wants price controls, and if they worked, I'd go along with it too, but they don't work.
The former president speaking at his golf club in New Jersey, surrounded by groceries, for a press conference his advisors said would focus on the economy.
We're going to have a crash like a 1929 crash if she gets in.
Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, accusing Trump of rooting for economic catastrophe. I put that to the former president.
He's been saying that he believes that you want things to get worse so that you can campaign on it, that you're rooting for failure. What's your response to that?
I wish I didn't have to do this. If our country were run by Democrats and it was run beautifully, where we were really being productive and everything else, I would have never done this.
Trump went from discussing inflation to weighing in on the weight of electric trucks to calling Harris a communist. Some of his own Republican supporters have begged him to focus on policy, but Trump making it clear he's not going to change.
I think I'm entitled to personal attacks. I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence, and I think she'll be a terrible president. And I think it's very important that we win. And whether the personal attacks are good, bad, I mean, she certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird.
Yeah, so don't expect those personal attacks to change anytime soon. Well, the first vice presidential debate is now set. Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance have both agreed to face off on October 1st. And of course, ABC News will have the very first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris on September 10th, Rebecca.
And there will be so much focus on that, Rachel. There's also focus on the vice presidential candidates, and our new poll shows how Americans are viewing them.
Yeah, and this race has entirely transformed this summer. A new candidate in the race, and both campaigns choosing their running mates. So how are they stacking up? Our new ABC News, Washington Post, and Ipsos poll shows that Governor Tim Walz is getting more of a positive reception at 39% compared to his Republican rival, Senator J.D. Vance, who is at 32%. And it's not just the reception. More Americans approve of Walz for the job. Now, both of these candidates are veterans. Walz served in the National Guard, Vance in the Marine Corps. Our poll shows that Vance is polling slightly higher among veterans. This is notable given all of the backlash and criticism that Walz has faced for how he has characterized his military career. Lindsay.
All right, Rachel, thanks so much. Now to the hero firefighter who was killed protecting his family during the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. This morning, we're hearing from his family in an exclusive interview with ABC Pittsburgh affiliate WTAE. Aaron Katersky joins us now with the story. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, Lindsay. This family was reluctant to speak out, but we're hearing from them for the first time since the volunteer firefighter was killed in the attack on former President Trump. This is the family he died protecting.
He definitely was a hero. He saved his wife, he saved his child, and he was just the best guy. He was just the best.
This morning, Helen Comprator and her daughters are speaking out for the first time about Corey Comprator, the volunteer fire chief who threw himself onto his family during the gunfire at former President Trump's rally last month in Butler, Pennsylvania.
I'm angry, obviously. My husband took a bullet for him, but, that unfortunately was the plan that day.
In an interview airing on our Pittsburgh affiliate WTAE, daughter Allison recalled the moment shots rang out, a memory still vivid and painful.
I was the one that my dad threw down. As he was throwing me down, that was when he was shot. He ended up falling onto me. I was confused, and I went, "Dad." And when I turned is whenever he fell down, and that's when I started screaming, and I was instantly I was trying to keep him from bleeding, and somebody had thrown down a towel, so somebody behind us must have seen what was going on, and I was just holding it there and just screaming for anybody to help.
His family wants Comparator remembered as more than the person killed in the assassination attempt of the former president.
He isn't just the guy that got shot at the rally. He was a husband, a father, a son, an uncle, and he was the glue to our family. He was our strength. He was everything to us, and that is what got taken from this world.
His two girls remembered their dad braiding their hair or teaching them how to do a back handspring. Michael, two others were shot during the rally for former President Trump back on July 13th. James Copenhaver and David Dutch, both of them are still recovering from their gunshot wounds. Michael?
Yeah, we're sorry the family had to go through that. Thank you so much. And we're going to turn now to some breaking news this morning. The convicted killer who escaped prison guards taking him to the hospital captured overnight after 2 days on the run. Faith Abube joined us with the details. Good morning, Faith.
Good morning to you, Michael. That escaped murderer was apparently checking in and out of hotel rooms with a woman as authorities spent days looking for him.
This morning, escaped murderer Ramon Alston back in custody after an operation involving the FBI, state and local police. Alston ran out of a police transport vehicle Tuesday morning, still wearing his handcuffs and waist chain, on the way to a medical appointment. He was captured shortly before 2 o'clock this morning inside his room at this hotel in Kannapolis, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. Alston checked into the hotel Wednesday with a female companion. A hotel employee spotted him wearing a t-shirt and jeans.
My shift was from 3 to 11, and I seen him a few times and, just nodded, said hello, and, they probably came, asked a couple of questions or something like towels or something like that, but I didn't have any red flags or anything like that.
Alston and the woman checked out the next day. Shortly after his arrest, Alston's female acquaintance, Jacobia Crisp, also arrested and now charged with felony aiding and abetting a fugitive. The escaped killer terrified the community here for days as law enforcement scoured over 1,300 acres looking for him. He was serving a life sentence for killing 1-year-old Malia Williams in a random shooting in 2015.
And Alston is also facing additional charges because of the escape. He's now being transferred to a high security prison to serve out his life sentence. Lindsay?
I'm sure many relieved at his capture. Faith, thank you. Now to the first case of the new, more dangerous strain of MPox, formerly known as monkeypox, found outside of Africa. The case has now been confirmed in Sweden. Eva Pilgrim is here with those details. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning to you, Lindsay. MPox is now confirmed on at least 2 continents, causing increased concern about possible international spread. Swedish health officials now reporting a case of MPox in the Stockholm area. This after the World Health Organization declared the virus as a public health emergency of international concern because of the rapid spread in several African countries. The case in Sweden matches the more dangerous strain that has also been found in those countries. The infected person recently visited a region in Africa where the virus is spreading. Now, MPox typically spreads with close skin-to-skin contact. The symptoms, a blister-like rash, fever, muscle aches, and fatigue. The WHO saying the recent outbreak showing signs the virus is spreading among families at home. And so far, there haven't been any cases of this more severe strain here in the U.S. The CDC saying the risk to the general public is low, but an official telling ABC News they are reevaluating that risk assessment. It's unclear if that will lead to any changes. For now, the health agency warning doctors to be on the lookout for patients with symptoms, especially if they've traveled to those areas seeing these outbreaks recently. If you're concerned that you could be at risk, there is a highly effective vaccine for MPox. Talk to your doctor about what is best for you. Michael.
All right. Thank you, Eva. Now to U.S. gymnast Jordan Childs, breaking her silence after having her bronze medal stripped from her, saying the decision feels unjust. Lara, you have this story for us. Good morning.
I do. Good morning to you, Michael. You know, the U.S. gymnastics events ended almost 2 weeks ago, and we've been following the controversy surrounding Jordan Childs' bronze medal in the floor exercise ever since, but we haven't heard from Childs herself until now, taking to Instagram to vent her disappointment in what she calls one of the most challenging moments in her career.
This morning, Olympian Jordan Childs opening up for the first time about having her bronze medal stripped away. Taking to Instagram to write, "I have no words. This decision feels unjust and comes as a significant blow, not just to me, but to everyone who has championed my journey." To add to the heartbreak, the unprompted, racially driven attacks on social media are wrong and extremely hurtful. I've poured my heart and soul into this sport, and I am so proud to represent my culture and my country. The 23-year-old adding, "I have taken pride in cheering on everyone, regardless of team or country." Last week, Childs' bronze medal was revoked after a court found that Team USA's appeal to change her degree of difficulty score was filed 4 seconds too late, which meant the bronze medal once again went to Romania's Ana Barbosu. Childs, who won gold in the team final, believes she is now confronted with one of the most challenging moments of her career, saying, "I believe at the end of this journey, the people in control will do the right thing."
Now, USA Gymnastics and the USOPC has said it will continue to fight for Jordan's medal, and the next step will be to the Swiss Federal Tribunal. But finding success at that level is pretty uncommon.
Childs also adding in her statement that she will never waver from upholding the values of sportsmanship and the rules that dictate fairness. Unfortunately, we learned just before this story aired that it is expected that Ana Barbosu will be reinstated with the bronze medal today in Romania. So extremely disappointing for Jordan.
And she's
But
worked
she
her whole
remains-
life for this. So much energy and time.
Yep, and it was all over that degree of difficulty score.
As we said yesterday, give them both bronze medals.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
At the very least.
They messed it up.
Right,
Do it right.
That's the thing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Lara.